A very hearty welcome and good morning to everybody in this nice and frosty Wednesday morning. Today, we'll be presenting a few very pertinent points in COVID safety. My name is 𝐭𝐢𝐦𝐞 from Upskill Academy, and in partnership with Enshrine Placements, we've come together and brought you some very, very important training courses in this live webinar. Firstly, one of the most important things we need to ask you, is your company and employees COVID safety compliant? The reason I ask this, if you're not, it can mean your business will close. Now, Upskill Academy can actually assist with this safety training. So just bear in mind with the following points. It is critically important to get your staff trained and certified in preventing COVID-19 infection and contamination when the lockdowns are starting to lift. The novel coronavirus and COVID-19 has touched nearly every corner of the globe, and we have seen its devastating health and financial effects. Since the World Health Organization declared this a pandemic, we have seen multiple countries worldwide implement national lockdowns and social distancing measures to limit and manage the spread. Homes, public areas, offices, malls, and just about every space, humans, public, and regularly thereafter to reduce the risk of further contamination. Proper training of all your staff has never been more important than now. And that is why these courses is ideal for everybody in your organization. Just on my next point, what I'd like to say is we've all known that since Monday, we've reached level 3. Thank goodness for most of you guys that have run out of your local stocks. You know that you can stock up on all the essentials that you need, but more so with our businesses. There's a massive amount of businesses that have reopened, and more essentially, more than 8 million employees have returned to work. Now, this has exponentially increased the risk of infection. And the risk of infection could mean your business will actually close. Now, take a second to digest that. One infection could mean your business comes to a halt. Now, we know, myself, you, and everybody else knows what the difficulty is in what the lockdown has caused, the pandemic has caused, and how it has affected our pockets for business owners, employees, and everybody of the like in generating an income. So it is essentially important to have taken the necessary steps in educating your employees on the necessary safety measures and protocol. Ask yourself, have you done this? Next, the level 3 regulations also call for businesses to appoint a COVID-19 health and safety officer or a compliance officer. Now, their job is specifically to oversee the implementation of workplace safety and regulations as outlined in each individual business in the COVID-19 workplace plan. Now, this is important essentially because we need to flatten the curve. And flattening the curve is essentially in many forms, the reason being to slow community transmission, to provide time to expand healthcare capacity, to provide time to better prepare and equip hospitals and healthcare workers, to provide time to scale up testing and prevention programs. This is all essential in limiting the spread of this pandemic. Now, I'm not sure that many businesses have taken the necessary precautions, and we'll learn a bit later in my webinar about some specific stats that we can reflect on. Now, firstly, there is some essential measures that need to be taken in order to ensure that your business is kept safe, and your employees and everybody of the like. It is essential that social distancing is implemented. Hand hygiene practices, hand washing and sanitizing, symptom screening, ensuring cloth masks and cough etiquette, the use of personal protection equipment, and the correct usage thereof, and then testing, isolation, quarantining, and anybody that may contract the virus, the rest of it. Now, the next point I'd like to make is I've built up why there's so many employees that have gone back to work and how this is important and how this could essentially spread the infections exponentially. Now, just to give you some of the stats regarding this. Now, since March, a total of 332 prohibition notices have been served. That means an average of about 9 prohibition notices per day. Now, the total neglect, and it is clear to see that now, as we know, nobody wants their business to close, but we do need to ensure safety. So there is an urgent and dramatic need for employers to educate and implement the necessary procedures to keep operating. Now, there was a total of, just for the last month, there was a total of 3,800 inspections done. The shocking fact is only half of those businesses were compliant. Let's take a moment to digest that. Only half of businesses were compliant, meaning that if your inspector was there, more often than not, your business would be closed today. And we know nobody can afford for businesses to be closed or employees to lose their work or further reductions of staff and other measures. The situation is now further complicated by the fact of level 3 lockdown. Many more manual workers will be returning to work, often working for smaller and less resourced employers, as you guys may be aware. Therefore, it is critical that all parties are alert and double their efforts to safeguard the workplace against the spread of the virus. Now, this does seem like quite a fair bit of doom and gloom, and which it necessarily is. Firstly, it does mean your businesses will close. It does mean employees will lose their work, only because employers have not taken the necessary steps to ensure the safety of their employees. On my last point, why I've mentioned the previous few points, is that there has been some new draft regulations that have been drafted. We're not sure when they will be coming into effect, but essentially this comes directly from the Minister, Mr. 𝐵𝗲𝗄𝐻. So what we know thus far, and this is quite important, workers may refuse to work. If there is reasonable belief that necessary precautions have not been put in place to prevent the transmission of COVID-19, the onus then falls on the employees to resolve such disputes, with the warning that victimization of anybody that complains or victimization of complainants can be referred to the CCMA. Now, what we can do is help reduce the liability to the employees as well as the employers by offering proof of training. Once you use a course that offers all the necessary training with all the necessary guidelines, with a certificate that is issued, in cases like those, there is some plausible deniability where you can actually show you have provided the necessary proof for your employees. Sorry, may have had a slightly bad connection there. Just to follow up, 1 second. Just to follow up, just to review from my previous point, that the situation is very much complicated because of level 3. In the lockdown, many more manual workers will be returning to work and often working for smaller, less resourced employees. Therefore, it is critical that all parties double their efforts to safeguard the workplace against the spread of the virus. Now, this does seem like a lot of doom and gloom, and most importantly, as we've seen with the rest of the world, it is of dire and utmost important that we do follow and implement the necessary procedures and ensure that employees are kept safe. The reason why I mention this is it builds up to my following point. There is new draft regulations that have been drafted from our minister, Mr. 𝐵𝗲𝗄𝐻, that change the rules for companies and employees returning to work. We are not sure yet as and when they will come into effect, but they have been drafted. Now, what this has built up to with my previous points is the following, and this is of utmost importance. Workers may actually refuse to work if they have a reasonable belief that the necessary precautions have not been put in place to prevent the transmission of COVID-19. This means the onus is on the employers to resolve such disputes, and the warning that victimization of those employees could see cases referred to the CCMA. Now, in order to reduce the liability to the employer as well as employees, we offer a simple, user-friendly course that offers training with all the necessary health protocols and a proof of certificate of this training. The employer then can show and reduce their liability in cases like these, that the necessary precautions were taken from an education perspective to enlighten and educate the employee of the necessary safety measures that need to be taken. The rest is then on the employer to ensure that all the necessary protective gear, sanitization, and cleanliness and hygiene of the office has been adhered to. Also, employees who have had close contact involving high risk of transmission, and these are under the Department of Health rules for assessing the risk of transmission, must be given 14 days paid sick leave. And this will actually apply to all workers. Now, if you take that into consideration, depending on the employee, training all of your employees could potentially cost less than paying for one of your employees 14 days sick leave. So it's a cost exercise that you need to do, and really think of it if it's worth the effort or worth the trouble of not implementing the correct procedures. Firstly, the penalties that can be implemented for not following procedures, your business closing, and also the health and safety of your employees. The cost of COVID-19 precautions such as personal protective equipment also cannot be recovered from employees in any way. Now, these are just a few of the points that I have brought to your attention regarding what some of the draft regulations is. Now, to summarize what this means is, firstly, it is in the employer's best interest to ensure, firstly, that employees are educated, informed, and kept safe. Because if employees are employed and kept safe and are aware of all the necessary procedures and protocols, and there is proof of it, it ensures that the workplace is also kept safe and diminishes or reduces the risk of the virus spreading, which is also reducing the liability to the employer that their business won't close or there won't be penalties sanctioned against them. To summarize this, I have a short video that I'd like you guys to view. Now, this is one of the courses that is for all the various employees and staff or even students. So we have compiled a very user-friendly 2-hour course with the guidelines set out by the World Health Organization, the Center for Disease Control, the Occupational Health and Health Association, and Environmental Protection Agency, which is the leading organizations in the world regarding these. Now this is for all staff, all employees, and even students. What I'll do is I'm just going to click on the video, and you guys can then have a quick browse through and have a look on our following video, which is entitled the Certified COVID Preparedness Training.
It is critically important to get your staff trained and certified in preventing COVID-19 infection and contamination. The novel coronavirus, or COVID-19, has touched nearly every corner of the globe, and we have seen its devastating health and financial effects. Since the World Health Organization declared the virus a pandemic, we have seen multiple countries worldwide implement national lockdowns and social distancing measures to limit and manage the spread. Homes, public areas, offices, malls, and just about every space humans use must all be disinfected prior to opening to the public and regularly thereafter to reduce the risk of further contamination. Proper training of all staff has never been more important than now. This course is ideal for everybody in your organization. The CCPTE course is based on the guidelines provided by the World Health Organization, the CDC, OSHA, the EPA, and the IICRC. The 4 modules cover the following and take about 2 hours to complete. Module 1, Protecting Yourself and Others. Module 2, Cleaning the Workspace. Module 3, Social Distancing. And Module 4, Key Cleaning Processes to Prevent and Reduce Risks. Upon successful completion, each attendee will receive a certificate of completion and competency. Management will have access and proof of all staff that completed the course for record keeping and effective risk management. For more information, go to 𝐵𝐸𝐴𝐶𝐻.co, email us sales@𝐵𝐸𝐴𝐶𝐻.co, or contact the agent that introduced you to us.
Well, thank you very much. I hope you guys found that video very important. I'm going to share the link for the PDF slide, which you can then actually view, which is the CCPTE course. I've just shared it now, which you can then actually download and view. So the next video that I'd like to speak about, and this is with the necessity of appointing a compliance officer to implement your safety plan, where we actually have the CIRSDAT course, which is the Certified Specialist Disinfectant Applicator Training. And this is essential for them as well as any cleaning staff. Now, this consists of a different model from the previous CCPTE course, where you wouldn't need to do both. This would be specifically applicable to the compliance officer as well as your training staff. Now, it is very important, as most, it is very important for the proper training of your cleaning staff, as certain businesses might actually hire a professional service, and others will actually handle the cleaning and disinfection themselves. If you will be doing that, this is essential to be doing this course and making sure that you're properly decontaminating your office, whether it be in homes, public area, offices, in any spaces. It is essential that it's done correctly and that you have a certified specialist disinfectant applicator trained to do this. I'll actually show you guys the next video. I'll also share the CIRSDAT PDF, which can be downloaded and viewed. And this will actually show what the course contains. There is 4 modules. The first module is actually protecting yourself and others, the basic rules of protecting yourselves and others during the cleaning process, personal protective equipment and how it should be put on, removed, and be disposed of. Second module will be cleaning the workspace, which is different surfaces in different areas, and the processes that must be followed when cleaning specific areas in preparation for disinfection. The third module consists of recommended products, spraying equipment, and the spraying method. Now, choosing the correct product and spray equipment will affect your spraying method. Now, recommended products and information to consider when choosing the correct spray equipment. And lastly, the key cleaning processes to reduce the risk of contamination. Recommendation on the processes and procedures that should be implemented after initial clean and disinfection to further protect any person entering the area. Now, upon the successful completion of the attendee, you will actually receive a certificate of completion and competency once you've completed the course. Now, let's just have a look at that video. 1 second.
Currently, it's become critically important to get your staff trained and certified as specialist disinfectant applicators. The novel corona or COVID-19 has touched nearly every corner of the globe, and we have seen its devastating health and financial effects. Since the World Health Organization declared the virus a pandemic, we have seen multiple countries worldwide implement national lockdowns and social distancing measures to limit and manage the spread. Homes, public areas, offices, malls, and just about every space humans use must all be disinfected prior to opening to the public and regularly thereafter to reduce the risk of further contamination. Proper training of cleaning staff has never been more important than now. Certain businesses may hire professional services and others will handle cleaning and disinfection themselves. Either way, this training is for everybody. The CERSTAT course, Certified Specialist Disinfection Applicator Training, is based on the guidelines provided by the World Health Organization, the CDC, OSHA, the EPA, and the IICRC. The 4 modules cover the following and take about 2 hours to complete. Module 1. Protecting yourself and others. Module 2. Cleaning the workspace. Module 3. Recommended products, spraying equipment, and spraying methods. And Module 4, Key Cleaning Processes to Prevent and Reduce Risks. Upon successful completion, the attendee will receive a certificate of completion and competency to be printed and displayed for employees and clients to view. For more information, go to 𝐵𝐸𝐴cademy.co, email us sales@𝐵𝐸𝐴cademy.co, or contact the agent that introduced you to us.
Well, there you go. Well, I hope this was very important. Just to summarize, now Upskill Academy provides these 2 e-learning courses of approximately 2 hours each, which are very simple, very easy to use, and offer exceptional value. And we actually offer have a special offer for all attendees. Now, the courses will actually educate employees on proper safety guidelines to facilitate your company to be safe, compliant, and minimizing your risk of infection and liability of closing up shop. And as we know, that is the most important part. We need our businesses to be open, we need our employees to be there, and we need to ensure that they are safe. Now, we actually have a live offer for you guys. Everybody that has attended the course, there is a live offer that you guys can actually use. If you check by offers, it will redirect you to our Upskill page, where you can actually just reference the Enshrine COVID-19 and inquired sales. Now, normally you'll see the prices are in US dollars, as these are valued at nearly $200 each. We know that in the current market and South African market, that isn't always viable. But as a special offer, we would like to say to you guys, for attending and looking at this webinar and showing interest, that we have special prices for our South African market and for our global market, depending on where you guys are at. With our CERSTAT, which is a specialized disinfectant applicator, we are offering the course at 995 Rand per person. And then for our CCTPE course, which is the Certified COVID Preparedness Training for all employees, which is essential for all your employees. And do remember that upon completion of this course, you are offered a certificate. Now, this we offer for 495 Rand per person. But depending on volume, we are happy to discuss a volume discount, depending on your employees. So click on the live offer, send us your details, send us the amount of your employees and your interest, and we can then discuss the relevant deal that would suit your company. And finally, that's it from me. So thank you very much for your time. We appreciate you listening. I appreciate the time spent here, and I hope it has been informative, that you now have a better understanding of why it is critically important to have your employees trained to ensure that your business's doors remain open and at a minimal cost. So if there's any questions that you guys would like to answer, I'm happy to go down to the questions and answer section and see if there's any questions that you guys do have for me. Okay. Firstly, let's have a look. The first question we have over here is, what is accreditation behind the certificates? Now, what we've actually done is, what we've actually done is we've used all the specific guidelines from the WHO, which is the Health Organization, the CDC, which is the Center for Disease Control, OSHA, which is Occupational Health and Safety Health Administration, and the EPA, which is the Environmental Protection Agency. These are the guidelines that have been set out by them, and it has been set up accordingly to this. And that was Timmy's question. The next question that we have over here is, are we getting attendance certificates for the webinar? There will not be attendance certificates for the webinar, but once you do click on offer and send your request through for our e-learning course, what you do is once you've completed the course, you will actually be receiving your certificate of completion. The next question is, good morning. Once more, the picture, the quality, I do apologize if the picture and voice quality was not there, probably due to the unforeseen circumstances and bad weather that we might be experiencing. So I do apologize. Then from Maria, we have got the next questions. It says, we have employees stranded in Zimbabwe. What is the process for them to cross our borders for work purposes, if anybody can assist? That is not my field of expertise. Although what I can mention is we are able to offer the courses worldwide, as it's an e-learning platform and it is accessible anywhere to everybody. We offer these courses mainly in the UK and America, but we've thought it prudent and essential to offer this to our African counterparts in South Africa and everywhere in Africa, to all our English-speaking nations. So we have ensured that we've got the most user-friendly, easy to understand course that is available. There are similar courses, but they are 8 to 10 hours and some of them even 6 weeks. We have got a short, pertinent, to the point course within 2 hours that will give you the necessary guidance that you would need to ensure the safety of your workers. If there are any other questions, please do let me know. If there is any other queries that you guys might have, send them through to me and I will address them accordingly. One second, I see there's some more questions that have come through. Terusha asked me, do churches have to have a workplace plan? I would, in my honest opinion, I would say yes, there needs to definitely be a safety plan placed in order. Either a schedule, there needs to be a compliance person, there would need to be screening as well as record keeping. For your community members, this could also, or your congregation members, this could also be of utmost importance, especially the cis-dat course, where the sanitization of your church, which needs to be done at a regular interval to ensure that it doesn't help spread the virus due to the number of people congregating. There is studies that have shown that 50 people can cause up to 10,000 infections in a very short amount of time. So it is of critical importance that your congregation, as well as everybody within the church organization, is educated and certain that they can comply within the necessary procedures. The next question we have there is from 𝐵𝗲𝗃𝗃. Do you have distance learning? Yes, we do. It's an e-learning course, so it is from a platform or from web-based. So you can log into from your smartphone, from your laptop, from your tablet, and you can view the course and complete it online. Next questions. Do residential complexes also need to have the workplace plan? Where are the employees from outside, or where there are employees from outside the complex? That would depend on who's managing the complex itself, but there should be guidelines in place from anybody and everybody outside the complex from entering, that there needs to be records kept, that there needs to be screened, and well, depending on who they're going to have contact with, I would recommend that yes. So if there's outside contractors, like for instance, in some complexes, you've got a specific broadband installer or a fiber installer to that specific complex, I would actually implement that they be trained and be assured that they are compliant and safe. We see Mr. Timmy said, we also hear sanitation booths are discouraged by the CDC. Please shed more light on this. I am not one of the biggest proponents of sanitation booths, although they have their pros and their cons. We, in our course, actually do rather cover that workstations are individually cleaned at specific times, and employees take the necessary steps in sanitizing themselves, and afterwards the employer or cleaning staff will ensure that the necessary workstations are individually cleaned on a regular basis to ensure that there isn't a further spread. Mario asked, will this course be mandatory for everybody? Everybody, employers to do? It isn't mandatory, but I would recommend that it would be. The reason being, it's a very effective and very cost-effective way in ensuring that your employees are educated and trained in the necessary safety and health precautions. The reason why I say this is there isn't currently, or there's a lack of understanding, there's a lack of availability of the necessary information to employers, especially for your small, medium enterprises, of what the correct procedures are that need to be in place. So this is a simple guide that has been put together with all the necessary procedures to easily make it understandable for everybody, for the employer as well as the employee. Now, do bear in mind that for every different industry, there has been extra or essential guidelines placed, for instance, in the mining industry, that has to also be adhered to, but that is separate from these. These are the standard basic guidelines set out by the various organizations to minimize the spread and risk, and also minimize the liability to each employer. The next question we have is from Asejo. He would like to know if he was a bit late to the webinar, and am I able to send a link to the webinar? Yes, there will be a replay available, so you would be able to actually review this replay at a later time. Mr. Sono says, once a work area has been infected, is the disinfectant specialist empowered to issue a certificate that the area is disinfected? That depends. It depends on the circumstances. If he's a certified disinfectant specialist applicator, he wouldn't be accredited to offer a certificate that it is disinfected, but he does have the necessary proof that he has been educated and optimally trained to disinfect the area. Devin asked, do we need a coupon for the discount? Yes, you'll actually see in the offer section, I've actually said there is a live offer that with the reference Enshrine COVID-19. So once you actually click on the link on the live offer, it will actually take you to our upskill page. You can then connect or send us a mail on sales@upskillacademy.co, and you just use that as a subject line. We will then offer you the reduced rates. Noleli asks if it is possible to enroll for the course and get an invoice with the banking details to enable payments. Yes, it is. That is actually our standard operating procedure. So when you click on offer, it will take you to our contact page where it says sales@upskillacademy.co. You can then make your inquiry with the amount of employees that you have. Once you have done that and say which courses you would like, we can then invoice you with our necessary banking details, and you guys can then make the payment. Once the payment is made, we will issue you with the necessary tokens, which you can then enter onto the website and register your various employees to do the courses. Do the certificates have an expiry date? Yes, they are valid for a year currently. Then obviously, as we live and learn with the COVID pandemic, we know that we don't know much about the virus as yet, and we are still busy learning. So thus, over time, this course would be updated and would be need to be retaken, say, as there is major implications or major changes to these courses, so to the regulations. So in that case, yes, it would have expiry date. Currently would be a year, or indefinitely if there's no changes to the current procedures, it would remain indefinitely. But we know there's regular changes to the regulations and protocols. So then, yes, we would need to update it on a yearly basis, or if there's more, on a shorter notice. And then Estelda, which mask is best for employees working 12-hour shifts? The blue clinic mask or the homemade ones? I would say cloth masks are probably the best, as they are set out by the health department currently. If there's any more questions, we've got another 2 minutes for you guys. If there's questions that you would like to ask or would like answered, please do let me know. Well, I think that just about wraps it up. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you guys. I apologize if we've had some connection issues. We'll see if we can sort that out on the replay, or otherwise we will be redoing this webinar next week again, and ensure that it runs smoothly. It's been great having you guys here. Thank you very much for your time. Just remember, this has been brought to you by Upskill Academy in partnership with Enshrine Learning Academy. We offer the 2 COVID-19 safety preparedness courses known as the CCPT, which is COVID Preparedness Safety Course for Employees or staff and students, and the Certified Disinfectant Applicator Specialist, which is for your compliance person as well as any of your cleaning staff. So thank you very much for your time, guys. Appreciate it. Have a good day.